Welcome to the Dudecast, everybody. I am your host, Adam, and we thank you for joining us. Phil, I don't know if you knew this, but we actually have listeners to this show. It's pretty crazy, but we appreciate y'all tuning in. I am here with my co-host, Cal. Skits is here, of course, and we are so excited about this guest today because we met him doing our group thing back in the day and had a grand old time. And then life is life, and we kind of lost touch for a while. But we're back in touch now. We're here, and Phil, say hello to the audience here.
Well, I appreciate having me. Thank you very much. And once again, I'm sorry that we lost contact. Life is life. The greater flows of those ties separated us, but now we're here again. I'm glad.
Indeed. Through the strikes and gutters, we're back again.
Do we?
Say it again.
How many listeners approximately do we have?
Ooh, I want to say we're up into like the low double digits.
Really?
I mean, last I checked, I remember like it was like 13 subscribers or 11 subscribers or something. Like we have I have a video with like 20 something views of it, a full video. And then there are I made clips. One of them got up to like a couple hundred a few weeks ago. And then one of them I uploaded got like 1.2 thousand views, like 1,000 people saw it. It's very short. It's very interesting, but
yeah, and it was me, so we know what people actually want to see and hear.
We know what the people really want.
People want me.
I've actually ripped off some of the ones off YouTube, so they should be on TikTok in little clips here soon. I just gotta get through them.
All right. Well, hopefully my information doesn't go over there too, because Chinamen got their hands all over that. Sorry, China.
You think they don't already have
it? Your surveillance
I literally just screen recorded it like I pirated it the best way that I could.
Fucking A. All right. Well, I'm also excited because in talking before the show, Phil, you were saying some real interesting shit, and I wanna start from the top here. So,
sure.
All right, where is it? Here we go. All right. So, okay.
I'm impressed that you think.
No. But this is good. Like, because I was asking, like, what is interesting about Dudeism? And that's kind of what we like to talk about on the show, right? Is Dudeism as a topic? Why is it an interesting religion? Why the hell are we here? Christians have thousands of churches and millions of sermons all day, and we're just getting started in the content department. And I think it's conversations like these that can help kind of define how the practice of Dudeism can help someone in their life. If we're living it, if we're examples, we're coming back to talk about it.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
I'm glad there's an officially recognized church, but I don't necessarily consider it a religion as such. I consider it more of a philosophy, and there's a lot of philosophies within any given religion. Take, for instance, the cajillion Christian churches that are around, each of them possessing a different philosophy or an interpretation of what they read in the Bible or been told they're read in the Bible. And so I consider it too much of a religion, especially since we don't have a God. We don't have anybody to pray to. We don't have, a mass. We make sacrifices, although, I could get a goat if you need one. And so it's a philosophy and it's a way of life more than it is, for me, a religion. I'm glad there's an official church, because that adds some credence to what we have. As much credence as anything we have to say. And so I'm glad it's there. And I'm glad it's viewed by the IRS as a bona fide religion, as is Scientology and the Church of the Cosmic Muffin or whatever. And so I'm glad it is. And it adds validity to it. But for me, it's a way of life, and it's a way of thinking about things more than something I pray to or sacrifice goats to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would hope that our listeners are sacrificing some pleasant smelling herbs to the universe. But if not, Skits is doing it for you, so no worries there. But yeah, no, and I think it's an interesting thing too, because like it's things like this that are helping to, I think, like properly put in context and define what a religion is, because there's been some creeping, over the years into politics where it's like, no, 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 this is a moral code, this is a moral imperative, and so we
Exactly.
need to like put this on top, and like, okay, well, if that's your moral imperative, this is our moral imperative, and how about your moral imperative fuck off the laws, and like you can do whatever you want within your home, within your church, that hopefully
Right.
people are free to leave, you know, but like maybe let's not make laws telling anyone what the hell to do. So like if they're a religion and we're a religion, without, 3,000 years of beautiful tradition, but like, you know, who is anyone to say that we can't have, that things aren't meaningful to us in that same way? And I think it's been interesting what the Skits is probably going to correct me when I say this next part, but I think it was not the Church of Satan, but the Satanist temple. I don't, dude, you help me out. But
Satanic
they do
Temple.
these things where they create laws. Satanic temple, thank you. They create the laws where it's like, no, 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 religionists, Christians, basically, we have very important things to us that you're trampling on here, so we're going to beat you in court. And I just think it's so beautiful, freeing up rights for everyone. You don't need to,
I do too.
it's like you don't need to be a Christian to not be able to get an abortion in a number of states now that Roe v. Wade was overturned. But
But
like
if you are a Christian, you don't want to get an abortion. That is a moral code that you laid down. Hell, I don't even think you're supposed to have enough to get an abortion, but you laid that down for yourself. That's your decision. But forcing that on other people via legislative actions is wrong. Is wrong. And it's going to domino. If we let it keep going, it will domino to the point where we're seeing things like, okay, you have to go to church on Sunday. Tell me it can't happen. I mean, these are the
oh
kind
yeah
of things that Jesus actually fought against back in his time. And Jesus wasn't executed by atheists. He was executed by the church and state.
mm-hmm.
That, yeah, he he managed to hack a lot of people off along his ministry, which he's often viewed as a holier than thou kind of guy who ministered. But he was a smart ass in a
yeah
lot of it.
yeah
A lot of that we read in the Bible, and I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, just say shut the fuck up.
Ah,
But a lot of things we read in the Bible, one of my favorite Bible stories is when they were some of the Pharisees were poking fun of him that he, oh, look at him, he's working on the Sabbath, he's over there eating, having a good time, and he said, you didn't like it when John the Baptist lived in the desert eating bugs and honey. You don't like it when I'm here drinking wine and eating food and having a good time. If we play funeral, you don't want to cry. We play wedding, you don't want to dance. What the hell do you people want from me? And that was exactly where he stood on it. And he had to fight the laws. The Judaic laws at the time were probably similar to what we see the Taliban doing now, imposing moral restrictions on people even when they can go out at night, what they have to wear on their face, especially the women, what they have to do, what they have to wear, what they have to say, what they have to enjoy. And Jesus made it plain. Don't worry about that. More important, I want you to be merciful more than I want your offerings, is what he and that makes perfect sense to me. And I think
oh
I
yeah
try to be merciful
oh
with
yeah
everyone.
no, and
And
it's no secret. I mean, we all agree to some extent, he died thousands of years ago, and so how many power structures have had a chance between then and now to change the message, that
everybody,
right.
everybody has now.
Yeah. But it's, he was there upsetting the apple cart, doing new things that people didn't like.
Yeah,
That was and now where we're at today, it's like, yeah, the same people who claim to believe in him are the same ones who would crucify him if he came back.
exactly. Exactly. And there was a
well,
story not long ago about a minister reading the Beatitudes to blessed are the meek in spirit, blessed are the poor. And that where did you get that woke agenda came from the congregation. They didn't like hearing that one little bit. Now, what the hell do you want?
Well, it's like the great quote from Gandhi that I admire your Christ. He is so unlike your Christians.
Bingo, bingo. And I'm not here to criticize anybody, but that is so much the case. So much the case. And if Jesus returned today, and I kind of wish he would, just to make a point, that most Christians would not like him very much. He would say things like, "Yeah, if you've got two coats, well, give one to that guy over there who has no coats. You got two sandwiches, give one to that guy who has got no sandwiches. And pay taxes. These are the things that are easier. Render unto God the things of God. Those things
Yeah.
would be those things. I mean, that's straight out of the good book, and not something I'm just pulling out my butt. So anyway, I'm sorry. I will
No.
ramble.
Hey, we're we are here to ramble.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone knows that, but I always like. I mean, I think it's one of my favorite topics to get into the religious thing because I've studied that a bit more. I think Skits and Cal, though, what I love about it is that you guys keep it very very practical. If it doesn't make sense, we're getting called out for it. But
Look, man,
I thought
I
it was
studied too.
interesting.
You know what I mean? I went to a fucking private school for a little bit. I fucking, I've read into fucking religions that have like 500 fucking members worldwide. It's all the same fucking bullshit, man. It all fucking says one thing, everybody does another fucking thing, and then gets mad at everybody else. Like I've got enough fucking problems, man. I got a hard enough time remembering all the shit that I actually need to personally do every day. I'm not gonna remember all these laws and rules and regulations and shit. Um, Apparently Cal has told me this before. That doesn't hold up in court, but like that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? I can't be taking on any extra shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't hold up in court.
Okay, well, I thought this was interesting as a discussion topic. So, thinking about, because this is not something we really have discussed too much, but the context in which The Big Lebowski was made. See, I think we talk a lot about, and like rightfully so, how Dudism is even relevant today, even though it was like the movie for its time and place in the '90s. There's a lot of parts of that movie that are just so '90s, right? But I think there's so much more of it that is just universally relevant, and that's what makes like a real classic. But in the parlance of the times in the '90s, this is interesting, and Phil, I hope we can discuss this. Other influences which predate the formation of the church and the production of the movies. So, like, what was the influence of the movie? Like, did they like okay, here's what that made me think of is Dudism itself such a complete departure from like anything they meant to do with that movie? Like, they just put this out there, thought it would be funny, which it was, and then people took way more meaning from it? Or like, were they trying to really, like, they talk about in one of the books, they talk about the wide angle lens they use a lot, and how they're kind of taking a wide angle lens to life itself. We deal with life and death, light and dark, these kinds of themes. So
Well,
discuss.
the characters were clearly written to be believed. You have to suspend your disbelief anytime you walk into a movie, and they were clearly meant to be believed, and they clearly reflected some actual people that the authors had met or imagined that they had met in their lives. I mean, it's a reflection of the times, but going back in time, there were a lot of people who were dudes way before there was a church, way before the movie was released. And we've talked about that before throughout history. I personally think Jesus was quite a dude himself. He was very, very mellow. Said, enjoy your life. You're not going to live forever. Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but it's not going to last forever, And don't let them tell you what to do. Don't let them make life hard on you. And I personally was heavily influenced. I consider myself a Dudeist since 1976, and long before the church, long before the movie, it hit me one day. I had an eye-opening experience that you know no matter, I want to enjoy today because I don't know how many more days are going to happen. I have no friggin' idea. I can do whatever I want. I can be happy on my own without a lot of. I live in a fucking cracker box in Eagle Rock. It's a horrible apartment. It is not, the big house that the Big Lebowski lived in. It's nothing like that. I don't need that. I don't even have a rug floor. and that's fine because it's less vacuuming. But it's just I don't have to have a lot to be happy. And if I am a happy person, I'm content. And if I'm content, I can pretty much pass away right now. I don't want to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suicidal. Nobody call anybody on me. But I can let it all go and say, that was good. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed being alive. And when you think about what life is, well, how much you stress yourself over, like Skit said, I've got too much shit to think about already. I've got bills. I've got car. I had not one but two fender benders last week. I've got that to think about. But I am not going to let it bother me to the point where I stress over it. If I stress over it, that's precious moments of my life that are literally taken away from me and devoted to thinking about something besides being happy, besides abiding, besides being content. And as long as I'm content, coffee. I've got to have a lot of coffee around me, and I'm good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And I think what makes Dudism such a useful philosophy is you look at Christianity, because it's the dominant fairy tale here in America. Christianity has this history of life is for suffering, so you get the reward in the afterlife. And where Dudism is so useful is it's like, no, you don't focus on the afterlife because that's probably not even real. Focus on your contentment now. Focus on enjoying the life that you have because that's the only thing you've got. People have beliefs about what happens when they die. No one living really knows. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Maybe we all go live on the moon. Who knows?
Well,
But we can't bank on it. So we got to enjoy what we got.
Yeah, exactly. And Christianity involved. Like I say, I thoroughly believe that Jesus preached different message than what has been by the Christian church all across the world. He said, "Not about suffering, so you'll be rewarded." Thank God, well pleased when His creatures. I think that He wanted you to enjoy it. He didn't put you here to suffer. We choose to suffer about so many things that just do not need. That we elect to worry about our bills, and we elect to worry about, I don't know, what is something you're worried about, guys? Come on, help me out here. What is something besides bills? What are you
I'm a
worried about?
fucking millennial. I'm worried about everything.
Yeah, quit. Just quit.
Social Security gone.
I am a proud member of Gen X. We don't give a fuck. Whatever.
I'm wondering how much more can prices go up without wages going up a fucking bit before people start
We
throwing
don't
shit.
want wages to go up because they will reclaim costs. Every time that they pay a sack boy a dime more, they're going to raise the price of green beans by 10 cents. They are not going to let.
But they've been raising the beans over and over for nothing. They've long reclaimed it long ago, and it's still going up.
I remember back in the 70s when gas soared up to like 80 cents a gallon, and we were just hysterical over it. Throughout Europe, one day they had a "Don't Drive Anywhere" day, where literally everybody in Europe, unless there was an emergency, stayed home. They called out of their jobs. There was no telecommuting at the time. They called out of their jobs. Businesses closed down. No, the economy ground to a halt for 24 hours. And the next day when they woke up, gas prices were lower. And if we could stop being such fucking greedy pigs about every goddamn thing. I'm speaking to you now from an iPhone 12 that I've had since iPhone 12. The other day, my son, who has to have everything new, everything better, everything bigger, faster, better, longer, harder, and more mega extreme than the one he just bought, went out and spent, I can't tell you, traded in his iPhone 13.5 Max to get an iPhone 15 because it's got 10 more megapixels than the last one. And that's just do what you want now. But it would have been already, he's like, well, it glitches, the phone glitches. well, I can't hear this and I can't do that. I'm going to have to go to the Apple store. So this is what is running through his mind all the time. He got this device. That wasn't holy enough. That possession of that object did not make him happy the way he thought. So now he's looking at that object thinking, you've got object of my adoration. You need to fill me with your happiness by not glitching on photos and by having increased volume and by, I don't know, having a more rapid megapixel or whatever the fuck these kids are into these days. And the object is not responding well. The object is not making him happier. The object,
No.
I'm sorry, I
No,
wasn't
but
listening.
that's fine.
it's something in the character of American capitalism that we kind of believe everything's a competition and we got to have the nicest, shiniest of everything. And it really makes people miserable because they're constantly looking what their neighbor has and thinking, how can I one up them? When
Yeah.
in reality, it doesn't matter. I drive a Kia Rio with like almost 100,000 miles. I love my car. I'm not getting rid of it.
083, 212,000 miles.
Fuck yeah, Phil.
I've driven it from Hollywood, California to Hollywood, Florida, and back 3
Hell
times.
yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Miles came
Well,
from. Still get
someone-
it's still 36 miles to the gallon. I don't really do much work. I mean, I don't. If they raise gas prices, I'll go places. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Well, someone told me that, speaking of like, things making you happy, like, really, you ever only feel super happy about a fulfilled desire for about like 20 minutes? You get like
Yeah.
20 minutes of like real happiness about it, if that. And then it's
Right.
just like the background of your life again. It's just something that exists in your life. It's not even that important anymore. It's on to the next thing that will definitely make me really happy. That thing.
I want to
Well, then
I want to interject. I never got to answer the fucking question that we skipped over 10 minutes ago. I think that the characters meant something to the creators, but I don't think that they were going to make a fucking religion out of it. I don't think they thought that it was going to take off the way that it did. If anything, they would have thought that about Fargo. Carry on, dudes.
Yeah. No, that's fine. These characters came in being in one particular place in one particular time frame, and they told a story about this guy, and people said, "Okay, I would like to be like him. I would like to be like." They don't need a religion to be like that, but as I said earlier, I'm glad there's a church to kind of officiate the process.
Yeah.
As far as that
Yeah.
goes, I mean,
Well, no, and that's, I think, what true teachers will say is you don't need me to get there, but I'm going to help you get there, quicker or in a way that makes more sense, because I think maybe the dude we've talked about this before about the Port Huron statement being like just kind of a throwaway line, but implying that he was somewhat of a radical activist, really trying to change the world and the plane of the world, and then probably ran up against, much larger forces than himself and, a way longer deal than, he was expecting or bargained for, and just kind of said, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness putting it in an outcome. Like, I need to change the world, then I'll be happy. I'll just, focus on the simple things.
the world will change around me.
Hell yeah.
I promise it will. I promise you. If you're happy, people around you will start to cheer up. They'll get happy. People around them. It's like it spreads. It spreads quickly, and people really can be happy. They need to let go of whatever. Did you ever read Illusions, Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah?
No, but you mentioned it. It sounds very interesting.
Can I tell you about it?
Please. Oh, definitely, please.
Take me a minute or two. The book it opens up with a story that begins once upon a time. This story tells about once upon a time there was a giant crystal river. You couldn't the water was so clear you couldn't even see it. It was that clear. And at the bottom of this stream, at the bottom of this river, there lived tiny, fragile creatures, and they spent their whole lives clinging to rocks because they were scared of the stream. They were scared the stream would carry them away somewhere, or that it would smash them into other rocks and the stream would injure them. And so they spent their whole lives clinging to those rocks. One day, one of them said, I'm going to let go of the rock. And the others were like, you're fucking nuts. If you let go of that rock, you will be carried downstream, you will be smashed into other rocks, and you will die. And he said, but as it is, I'm going to die clinging to this rock. And I said, well, yeah, that's the way we do things around here. And so he let go of the rock. All at once, bam, 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 one rock after another. The stream carried him, it smashed him, it broke him, it hurt him. But then he was lifted up. The stream picked him up and carried him way far above the other's head. And they were like, look at that. Look at that. That's one of us. But he can fly. He's got it going on. How do we do that, dude? How do we do that, master? And he said, oh, all you got to do is let go of the rock. And they said, no, we saw what happened to you. We're not going to do that. And he goes, I don't even remember what that felt like. Just let go of the rock. Never did. And they were eventually eaten by salamanders. But he remained floating. He stayed up there. He lived his best life floating in the stream. And think about that. Think about how many rocks we hold on to in any given day, whether it would be our taxes, our mothers, our fathers, our parents, our kids. I got a dog over there that I got to keep on a 4-foot leash or else he's going to run out in the road. These are rocks that I still hold on to. Other people who make themselves miserable holding on to incredibly bad rocks and let that stream just pass over them and never enjoy what swimming in that stream would be like because they just let go. They can't let go. They're too scared. They're going to get hurt. They're going to get wounded. They're going to miss something in life if they let go of that rock. That's my sermon for the day.
I didn't know where the fuck that was gonna go. That was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, that's completely correct.
Sorry, my screen froze for a minute there. I think I heard everything, but
That was
I don't think you
completely
guys are frozen
correct.
to each other. This is fucking annoying.
It's a fable. It's a book. And the book goes on to discuss a man who is a Messiah who came to earth to help people. And they wouldn't. When he said, let go of your rocks, be who you want to be. You can do whatever you want in this life. You can be happy. You can pick riches. You can pick poverty. You can choose joy. You can choose sadness. The choice is up to you. And they would not listen to him. And he became very reluctant about it and quit his job as a Messiah.
I'll be honest, I could lie to you. I'm just gonna have to wait until the movie comes out.
Quit his job as a Messiah.
Well, it was written in 75. I think there's been about 4 attempts to make a movie, but it never came to that.
Man,
Ralph Back.
Shit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think so. What that reminded me of is like, you know, it's always the people who are like so unique and so comfortable in themselves that their uniqueness really stands out. You know, they're not unique like just trying to be weird for the sake of attention. You know, that seems to be like you can just see right through that. But they're just weird because that's like who they are. You know, they're just a different breed of person. Like, take Skits, for example. Weirdest motherfucker I've ever met.
Yeah.
Skits. But like one of the best human beings that I know. Like partly because of that authenticity, because of the weirdness, you know, like
you don't know many people.
And I think that's what so many dudists gravitate to in the dude is like most people are super impressed by wealth. He's not. You know, most people will get flustered when their head is slammed into a toilet. He doesn't. He comes up with something witty to say to the people who are assaulting him. You know, like it's just and like most people would take the Big Lebowski's tirade and just, you know, sit there and take it. He convinces Brant that the old man told him to take any rug in the house. You know, like it's just like, because like the way I see it is because he's so centered in himself and he knows who he is. That means that he can both be kind of a mind ninja when these like nihilists and, you know, people are fucking attacking him. And then he can also just let things go much more easily. You know, he can actually practice what he preaches and actually take it easy. Like, I think a lot of people, like, how many people could describe losing $1 million in a briefcase as, yeah, I lost a little money today? like that is clearly a life-changing amount of money, you know, even to like people who are making, you know, a normal amount, making more than the dude, you know what I mean? That's a life-changing amount of money. And the dude is just like, yeah, I can't be worried about that shit, man. Life goes on. You know, he's in a limo. He's thinking about where he is at the time. So, you know, I think that if we can take anything from like these stories that like really like, you know, like you said, that was one of the things that changed your thinking. You know, Dudism, I think for a lot of people changed how they think about things. And I think
Sure.
part of that is because someone was brave enough to let go of enough of their fucking rocks that they can see what's really true. You know, that yeah,
Exactly.
maybe you get battered and thrown around a little bit, but eventually, you know, you're flying, you're floating, you're up in the
Yeah.
water. But you never would have known you could do that unless you let go of the fucking rock. So anyway, it's a good analogy.
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect. And that book, I read that when it first came out, and that kind of opened my head up to like, wow, I can really do things I like to do.
So can we agree that the sister movie to The Big Lebowski is Office Space?
And yeah, the whole Jesus thing doesn't work for a lot of people. And that's cool. You know, that's cool. I think the more I learn from that Jesus guy, the more I understand that like if someone is on their own pathway to truth, then you know, you should be all for it. They don't need to subscribe to whatever, you know, language or version or whatever you subscribe to. If they're on their path and like you can tell what that looks like. I think that's what that is, you know? But when you're not, and like you just sort of like doing what someone told you to do, or you know, like going back to what you're saying about the iPhone, like this capitalist idea that just gets implanted in people's heads that if you have enough consumables, enough money, enough status, enough, you know, women, whatever, if you have enough, then you'll be happy. But it's
Yeah.
a fucking lie. It's a trick because there's no such thing as enough when you have that like desire for more and that hunger. That's called greed, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that is, you know? Like I'll say it, like Kobe Bryant, everyone celebrates Kobe Bryant for like how hard he worked and like what he did on like in his sports arena, and I do too. The man was incredible. But like at a certain point like he was greedy, you know? And Tom Brady too. Like that's what made them great compared to other people, but in a way it was like it was never enough, you know?
Know your worth,
And
Kings. Know your fucking worth.
that's a hard thing.
Greed,
So it's like,
greed is awesome
okay,
because you can have
instead
greed.
of that, fuck it. You know, let's go bowling.
Sing on.
Let's live life rather than, you know, living in the future worrying, like you said, like that's, you know, a lot of rocks there. You're just holding on to worry that like this might happen. Maybe. I'm so worried. Oh, I'm so worried
Yeah.
Donald Trump's going to get elected. Oh, I'm so worried Joe Biden's going to get elected. Well, they both fucking happened and we're all still fucking here. You know, all these things that so many people are afraid of. And you look 10 years ago, look at what people are deathly afraid of. Whether it happened or not, it was never as bad as everyone feared, kind of like everything. And, you know, you look at the past, you're regretting things so much, or, you know, you're worrying about like, oh, I did that wrong, or, you know, thinking it should have been different, or if only, you know, like you Uncle Rico, like from Napoleon Dynamite, if only, you know, I'd played in that football game. Like that's, you know, those are rocks too, you know, when you're like thinking about the past so much, you get stuck, you know, like literally stuck. And that's the
Yeah.
cool thing about the dude isn't thinking about his roadie days with Metallica, you know. The dude isn't thinking about like what if, you know, what if some politician gets elected, or what if, you know, Kuwait and Iraq and whatever is going on over there that the news is up in arms about, you know. Can't be
Sure.
worried about that shit. So
Well, I mean,
I'd be willing to bet that the dude's
rambling.
last
Go ahead.
vote for anybody was like in 1972 he might have voted for George McGovern and then he just never voted again. You know, he gave up on that shit.
Sorry, Phil, it sounded like you were going to say something, buddy. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I'm just following along. I'm just following along. I don't remember what we were talking about even. George McGovern.
I might be making more sense than usual, Cal and Skits, because this actually doesn't working right now. So
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm not quite as
What
far
is-
in space.
Oh,
But I swear to
Is this
God, I
thing
heard Cal
working?
saying something 5 minutes ago.
I
And
did
I can't
say
see them on
something.
the screen, so I
You
just want
missed
to
it.
hear that they're still with
No,
us.
I said no, just talking about the dude being worried about politics, and I said, he probably voted for McGovern in '72 and then never voted again after that.
We might have lost him.
But
What?
When their internet.
Go back. You're
Say
not
again?
in there.
I can hear Cal.
What's
Can
the
anybody
voice?
hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
Okay,
can
hold
too.
on. Let me hold the fucking phone.
Adam,
I'm
you
not
the
aware
problem.
of.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm gonna see if they're still on this fucking thing. We might have to. This is,
Hey,
ladies and gentlemen.
hey,
this
whoever
is
can
called
hear
Main
us,
Mission.
tell him that
We used to do this back in the day, where refresh your beverage and take a fucking minute. But we're experiencing technical difficulties.
Adam,
This
you're
won't go out live. I
experiencing
could probably edit
you.
this out, but
I was going to
anyway.
say, I'm doing good this end, and I don't have an iPhone 15.
Phil, can you hear us?
Yes, perfect.
Can you tell Adam that you can hear us?
Adam, I can hear them.
You can hear them. I can't hear them. Motherfucker. All right. I'm going to refresh. We might have to stop the recording and come back.
All right.
You get out of here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Adam.
Did you hear him trying to blame shit on us?
Yeah.
I know.
Adam while he's gone.
We get scapegoated for everything on this show.
I wondered why I kept fucking like interjecting, and then like he just started talking about some random shit.
I think he's back.
I can
We're talking-
see Callan Skits now.
I can see you.
This is good. I can hear you. That is excellent. So was I just talking over one of you at one
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, lots of
At one point.
Yeah, like the whole time.
Dick.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
Dude, it's like every week.
now your lip sound is trailing you. So it's like
God
really bad.
damn
guys.
it. That is so annoying. All right. Well, now I have to watch this and see what a dick I am. And just like flash like asshole alert on the screen or some shit.
Yeah.
God damn. All right. So what were we saying? You guys start. I'm just not gonna talk the rest of the fucking time. That'll make it easier.
Well, I mean,
it's your show. Here you go.
Okay. So what I was going to say is, with regards to what you're saying, one of the first judges that I practiced in front of, he used the analogy. It's very similar to me to what you guys were talking about. And it's something I've always kept in mind, that he said when we're born, we're kind of given a figurative little red wagon that we pull behind us for our whole lives. And our worries and our fears and our guilt, they're all rocks that we put in the wagon. And it gets harder and harder to pull as life goes on. And you've got to let it go if you're going to make it through. Otherwise, you are literally going to get weighed down. And that to me is something Dudeism has been very helpful with, is, don't worry about the shit that either doesn't matter or I can't do anything about it. Can I control who wins the next presidential election? No. So I'll vote, but
really
who cares?
think you can always go back and pick it up later if you really think. But for now, let it go. It'll be alongside of the road, right where nobody's going to come pick up your problems. You can leave them by the side of the road. Nobody's going to come get them and solve your problems. It's not going to be a problem. You leave it right there. If somebody needs it later, you can come pick that up. And you don't have to worry about it. Leave the problem behind. Nobody's going to steal it. Nobody wants your problems.
No, but it's something that I've noticed a lot in American society in this day and age. And it's why I really, hopefully this podcast does something to help get a few more people turned on to Dudeism. Hopefully, like Adam's book, hopefully more people get the word about Dudeism, because I see so much anger and fear in our society.
Yep.
And I think Dudeism would help a lot of people let that shit go.
I'm down with that. Let it go. Let it go. Quit being scared of every goddamn thing. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense whatsoever.
And that's what I'm hearing out of, especially we were talking about politics earlier. Politicians are pushing the fear agenda so much.
Nonstop.
Yeah, they want people to be afraid of abortionists. They want people to be afraid of drag queens. Oh, Jesus. Of all the people in the world I'm afraid of, drag queens are way,
Like,
way.
obviously, none of you have ever met a drag queen. Like,
Goddamn drag queens, trust me.
yeah. But like,
What?
The same
To be
team, different
catty.
jerseys, man. That's what everybody doesn't get.
right,
It's the exact same team.
right,
Everybody wants to impose new
right.
laws. That's what everybody's big agenda is on everything that they do is some new fucking law. When are we gonna get somebody that's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and abolish 200 fucking laws because there are like a million fucking laws. Leave us alone, man.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
2023. We can govern ourselves.
I mean, like, I noticed I live in California. Where are you at, Skits? I don't know.
I'm in Indiana.
We're on. I'm sorry?
Indiana.
Buttfuck Indiana.
Yep.
Indiana. Is that herb that you're smoking there, is that legal in Indiana?
No.
Or are you
No.
violate?
Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio now. Not Indiana.
Ohio, and good for them. God bless them. I hope they're doing well with that. And I'm glad. I mean, I haven't lived anywhere where it was illegal for about 4 or 5 years now. And so it would be really hard for me to go east of the Rockies somewhere. And I can't buy weed here. What the hell are you talking
Well, I
about?
mean,
Hell
you're
no.
good
No.
now. Like, well, we're 24 states recreational. Missouri,
Yeah.
Ohio, Illinois, Michigan. I mean, yeah, you hit like straight through the middle of the Bible Belt, and you're all right. Unless you go to Indiana, but as long as we have headquarters for Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson and Johnson Mead, it's not going to happen. The lobby is too
Absolutely.
strong here.
Yeah.
But
And
Illinois is
that's
also
another
12
thing.
miles away from me, so I'll pay the fucking 15 or 20%
It is
tax.
insane that they can make more money from lobbyists than they can from taxes on the thing.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Well, as long as you have to
Yeah.
continue
But, you know,
taking
we're living in a
medicine
very
for medicine to battle the side effects of the original medicine,
right,
there's always going to be money.
right, right. Yep.
You want to make a biblical law. There's 1 verse 28. Every seed-bearing plant in the garden shall be as food unto thee. It doesn't say every seed plant, except for weed, of course, shall be as
Right.
food unto thee. It says every seed-bearing plant. Anybody who disagrees with that is going to have to take it up with Jesus.
Right.
Because in Genesis, the first book, 28 verses into it, he brought that up after we got past light, darkness, creation of matter, creation of fish, creation of animals, of birds, of people. Okay, we got all that important stuff. Let me just throw this in. Go get you some seed bearing plants, man. Get you some seed bearing plants and eat them, motherfucker. You're going to love this. Our brains are set up with something called cannabinoid receptors inside them. At some point, some architect of humanity, whether you believe it was God or the cosmic muffin or whatever, said, you know, they're going to need cannabinoid receptors inside their head. What the hell are you going on about? The dog is. I'm trying to talk. And our brains have cannabinoid, are specific designed to accept cannabis into our brain. Now, argue with me. Somebody fucking argue.
No, I say legalize
And
everything.
still,
Legalize it all. There are too many people.
They'll hold up and say, well, we don't need that monkey on our backs. We got moonshine and guns. We don't need no marijuana around here. And,
Which sucks because, like, if you've ever drank moonshine and shot guns, like, a joint makes it even better. Like, I've never actually even run into a situation where, like, I was like, oh man, I shouldn't have smoked. Normally it's like, man, I should have smoked another one.
you know,
It is crazy, though. I just realized how insane it is that we're like, yep, this is legal to do, but don't drink too much and drive or we'll pull you over and send you to jail. Or don't drink too much in public or we'll send you to jail. Or don't drink too much, period, or you'll literally fucking die. Like, and yet this thing that you cannot possibly literally cannot possibly smoke enough of it to die can't be legal. Like,
I got a hold of something. You know what Rick Scott oil
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
no.
Scott oil is a very highly concentrated product that they use to treat cancer with. And I mean, you put a dime size on your finger. I mean, like right there, put it under your tongue, and it tastes nasty as hell. You don't
No,
want
it's
to go
good.
through this. It gets you very mellow. It cancels all your pain, and it's done remarkably well for people with cancer. Okay. Well, me being the kind of idiot that I am, and I'm a special breed of fucking idiot, right? I said, oh, well, if the dime on the end of my finger is going to do some good, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a whole line of it down there. I licked it off. I didn't die from it, but I did need.
Okay.
I mean, I left my body. I freaking left my body. I was on the astral plane.
So
And
I would take a Starburst and cover the entire top of a Starburst. So like the way that I get them come in syringes without a fucking point on it. It's just like a baby syringe. And it came in fucking like I don't know, it equaled out to like a gram. And yeah, so like if
yeah,
I put it in fourths. When he says astral plane, I mean like I needed Velcro shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was bad off, and I kept doing that to myself, and I don't know why. I do know why. It's awesome. I suggest everybody do. I'm not a doctor. I don't care what I say.
All right. I'm looking at the time though. And unless Cal has anything to say about that last point, I have a new question that I think is very interesting. So Denton, you brought this up, and actually, I kind of want to know what your answer would be. You mentioned two movies that I think your answer is going to be one of these two, but I actually want to hear Skits and Cal answer this question because it is kind of a personal question, a little bit like an opinion question. I mean, not personal; it's an opinion question, and that question is: if there were another classic movie that had a religion around it, what would that be for you? Like, or if you were going to start a religion, if you had to start a religion from some movie. I know it sounds exhausting. I know you wouldn't do it, but if you had to, what would it be?
Sounds like a lot of work. I'm going to go with, there's two that come to mind immediately. Star Wars, which is already full of religion. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm flipping off Cal because he makes a big fucking show of how much he does not think Star Wars is awesome, and I think it's cool that you're here, Phil, to back me up that Star Wars is fucking awesome. So, agree to disagree.
I didn't do much for Revenge of the Ninja Clones or whatever the hell that last one was, but the first three, some ideals that had never been presented in such a magnificent way before, and that you kind of had to, and everybody on Earth has done this. Everybody on Earth has tried to move their coffee cup using the Force at least one point. I mean, everybody. So, and I think if you'll go through the list of oddball churches, there is a Church of the Jedi somewhere that teach martial arts and the flow of life, the ebb and flow of the Taoistic feeling, and Obi-Wan preached that very much. The other movie that I would pick would be the Rocky Horror Picture Show. While it on the surface it looks just like some kind of naughty, funny comedy, it's pretty freaking deep. Most of the depth is through musical numbers, but the main character, okay, arguably the main character, is Dr. Frankenfurter, who is the biggest, most masculine butch motherfucker you'd ever want to run into in a dark alley. He will kick your ass wearing high heels. And he tries so hard to be feminine. He tries so hard to look pretty like a girl, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for him. But he lives that life. He lives that life. He abides that life because that's what he likes to do. And he goes on to create all kinds of things, all kind of havoc for other people who will oppose him. He's not a very calm individual at all. He's high strung. He has his issues for sure. But There at the end of the movie, the floor show, the theme of it says, "Don't dream it, be it." That's pretty simplistic, but it points to 5 or 6 different characters up there, and they each represent role models. A lot of them are very sexual, a lot are very not sexual, but they're. If you want to be something, don't just sit around and dream it. Go out and do it. I've told you before that I when I was a kid, I didn't want anything else in life other than to be Dr. Johnny Fever for WKRP in Cincinnati. When I saw Rocky Horror, I said, "What do I want to be? What is my dream?" And it was to be Dr. Johnny Fever, an old reprobate who smoked weed, went on the air, ran his mouth, went home at night, probably drank, passed out on the sofa, and lived in a shitty apartment somewhere, And that's what I wanted to be. It wasn't much of a goal. It wasn't like doctor, neurosurgeon, anything like that. But it's what I wanted to be. And I eventually became that. And because I wanted to, I didn't dream it, I was it. And I kind of owed that groundbreaking experience to a stupid song in a Rocky Horror musical. Don't dream it, be it. Whatever you want to do, don't waste your time dreaming it. Just go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. You will run into a few rocks. You will get smacked. You will get injured. You will get hurt. It will suck. But one day, when you're floating up there in the midstream, looking down at all the people who said you should not do that, you say, I did it.
Love that.
I done
it. Love it. All right. Well, Cal, I guess we got to call on you first because didn't like that idea. So what would you
call on Skits first? I want to hear him first.
All right, fair enough.
I would go off the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes so much fucking sense, dude.
That's what I would
You
base
are
it off of. A lot of good morals out of that entire series. I mean, it went downhill towards the end, but like, what series doesn't?
Well, yeah.
I don't know any series that makes it past a trilogy that's not like, God damn, they're still making these. Not saying that I won't see every single one, but yeah, the biggest thing that you can take away from that is people aren't cargo, mate.
Second, please.
Yeah, I think what I would have to go with would be the Unified Church of Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. I think that's what I'd go with.
Okay.
He's very wise. He likes to smoke and blow shit up with the hobbits. I like Gandalf. I'd go with that.
Makes people take care of their own shit instead of doing it for them.
Goddamn right.
Yeah. Hey, wait, Skits, what was your one line, though, from the takeaway from the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, people aren't cargo.
People aren't cargo.
That is one of my favorite lines in the entire fucking series. And it is the entire reason that Jack Sparrow is a pirate. He was with the British Naval. He was over a shipment and it was fucking slaves. And that was his one thing, was he didn't. So he freed everybody. Gave their souls to Davy Jones, and that's why he owed a debt.
Oh.
I did not know that. I've only seen a couple of them. Like you said, nothing survived the third trilogy.
I've lived my life as a vampire most of my life. It's just something that you run into.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so Cal, what's your one biggest takeaway from Gandalf? I know mine. I have a good one.
Well, he's loyal to the things that he believes in, and he also, a lot of people overlook the hobbits because they're small and they don't wear shoes and they live in the Shire, but he treats them as equals. I mean, he doesn't look down on them at all, even though he's like fucking 7 feet tall. He doesn't look down on them.
Yep. 7 feet tall and magical. And doesn't look down on the most plain person or the most plain type of person you could ever meet.
Well, that's not fair.
Elves they live in their holes, they like comforts.
Elves are assholes. I'm not forming a church of the fucking elves. They're dicks. But But
Elves
you know,
are
it
the
doesn't.
Audi drivers of the Middle
No,
Earth.
they're the Tesla drivers.
I'm 66 years old. In my life, this is the first time I've heard anybody say elves are assholes.
No,
But
they are. But what also gets me with Gandalf was when Frodo is talking about Gollum, and he talks about wanting to kill Gollum, like he'd be better. And Gandalf's the one who calms him down and says, "No, he's to be pitied. You know, the ring made him this way. He is to be pitied."
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of why I do what I do as a public defender.
Yep.
You know.
The ring of something made them that way, you know?
Yeah.
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 Okay, but my big takeaway, I love that, by the way. I think there definitely could be a church around Gandalf. And my costume one year was Gandalf as a Swami. Like after the movie, he leveled up again and wore orange instead of white. But listen, listen. I think that there's a real lesson in how he goes against the Balrog. And I think it is that if you want to level up yourself, you got to go deep into the fucking dark pit, you know, and battle your demon and fucking win. You know, and he was afraid, you know, he like in the build up to that, in the days and weeks before that, like he knew what he had to do and he did not want to fucking do it. You know, he knew it would be horrible and uncomfortable and miserable and he might not win, but he knew he had to do it. There was the Balrog was down there. It's not going anywhere until he does something about it.
Yeah, it's a much better lesson than you guys get from anybody in Star Wars. I mean, where the main character fucked his sister.
he did not fuck his sister.
Kissed his sister, you jackass.
Oh,
and if you're judging Star Wars based on like, you know, the middle ones, like no. The first three, the most recent three are great for very different reasons, but I won't hear a word against them. Sorry. But anyway.
Overrated garbage.
Okay.
Hashtag overrated shit.
Okay. Denton, I'm going to give you, Phil, I'm going to give you a question that we've already answered, but that you get to answer because it's so much fun to think about, and this will be where we leave it. So in the movie, if you could be in any scene, like in the background as an extra, what scene would you put yourself in? Not as a main character.
Probably, I think it's at a Denny's or a coffee shop where we get to see Maud's toe getting cut off. I think I'd like to be a waiter in that restaurant.
Wait, you mean the nihilist woman?
Yes, exactly. And I'd like to just serve their pancakes or whatever. I think, or hang out. I love bowl, I really do, and I like to bowl long before bowling was a thing. And I would hang out. I could rent shoes. I could be the guy that runs around telling people not to step in the alley, which happens a lot to me because I could do anything.
Nice.
I take on minor positions. Here in Hollywood. I've got a contract sort of with. I'm frequently in audiences at TV shows.
Oh, nice.
And you'll be on a Judge Judy, a Judge Ross, a lot of those.
Wow. Pretty cool. Far out, man.
Today, you go there, you say, usually something you could have picked up at 7-Eleven for less. But yeah. And so I do that. You asked the right question there. I'll get an extra. You don't have any lines to memorize, you get paid. Good deal.
Nice.
You know, Adam, I was thinking about that question because it's one that just kind of rattles around in my head. And I think that probably the character that has it the best is Gary the bartender. Because he just interacts with these characters. He gets like the front row seat to most of the madness. Mm-hmm. And he just makes mean Caucasians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm sticking with the guy that helps Maud out of her fucking contraption. That's
either
the
that or the guy who's or the guy holding the trampoline as the topless woman gets flung up in the air because he looks just so happy with his life at that moment.
Go. Yeah. Make sure you get the titties in slow motion now.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. No, I still think it'd be cool. I don't know why. And I would probably have to wash my hands about 20 times after, but the guy who just keeps lifting up the shoes and doing the spray, you know,
Yeah.
They pick such, see, even in the little characters, like the guy that turns around disapprovingly at the coffee shop, like the girl at the grocery store with just that like dead hollow look in her eyes while the TV's on in the background, talking about Kuwait or whatever. And the guy who sprays the shoe. I think like every one of those characters is so perfect. Just, yeah, masterpiece. Anyway.
Well, that's and what you're saying there is a hallmark of a really well put together movie. Make sure that even the extras are not just sitting in the background.
Yeah.
On Judge Ross, I'm just sitting in the background. But something like that, where you actually employ, I need you to look like you're happy at your job, I need you to look miserable at your job, I need you to look quizzical about this. That's fucking good movie making. That really is. Yeah, that's attention to detail that you don't see in everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, such attention to detail. Like the good cop, bad cop. One's happy, one's grumpy, one's white, one's black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One's slight, one's thick. It's just like, oh man. Anyway, well, I'm rambling again, but hey, I'll just say it. We're at about that time, and yeah, appreciate y'all sitting through another one of these.
It's really good to see everybody.
Phil, I gotta honestly say, we have a couple guests that I think are going to be repeats, and I sure as shit hope you're one of them. We've already had our first repeat guest. We're going to do another one, and I know I speak for these other two gentlemen here in saying that we'd love to have you back. So,
well, anytime, I'd love to be here. I got my phone number. Don't hand it just out randomly, okay? Unless you're somebody really cute. And
oops. Yeah, sorry, I just need to go delete a Facebook post here. Don't call Phil. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, a real pleasure. And we thank you all for listening. Hopefully you got something out of this. Who the fuck knows? We had fun anyway. And
okay.
The dude abides.
Let me know where you load this puppy up. I'll watch and send 2 copies to my mama.
There you go. Will do. Thank you, everyone. Peace out. Take her easy.
See y'all next time.